fan cast. I don't really do these sort of things because a number of reasons. Number one, I'm not a casting director or actor, and I can barely figure out what I want to eat, let alone pick someone to star in a movie role. But what I do know is that I love movies. I've been seeing a lot of fan castings that are great and others that are not so great, with most being, hey, I like this actor and they slightly look like this character, so they'd be the perfect fit for them in a live action adaptation. Again, I don't know anything about the filming process, but I'm pretty sure you can agree with me when I say just because an actor looks like a character doesn't mean they should play the role. Today I'm going to do my best and use my skills of watching TV and movies to pick my cast for a Ben 10 live action film. But let's just do this for fun. So recently, and by recently I mean last year, there was a picture that went trending of Tom Holland as Ben 10. Now, I cannot stress this enough how many times I've seen this thing on Reddit, Instagram, and Twitter. I could not escape this image, and it got to the point of which I actually started to get kind of angry and decided to do this video, albeit I didn't know how to form the words until now. Now, I don't have a problem with Tom Holland. I love him as Spider-Man. I enjoyed his performance in The Devil All the Time, and I'm looking forward to see what he does as Nathan Drake in the Uncharted movie. Before he shut it down, there were a lot of people behind the idea of him being Ben 10 if Cartoon Network and Warner Brothers ever decided to bring the hero of heroes to the big screen. In some alternate universe where that were to happen, I strongly believe that Tom Holland wouldn't be the best choice for Ben. I don't even think he'd be a good choice. Be honest with me. Look at him and you tell me yes or no if you can see him running into battle shouting it's hero time. The first reason is because Ben is really complex to portray on a character level. He's a leader, although sometimes being the one to punch first and ask questions later. And although he can be intelligent at times, Ben's also a jokester. Bringing any character to life, whether it be from a book or animation, if you don't convey all of those characteristics of the role, those just seem flatter than 2D animation. Get it? Because 2D animation it's flat. Anyways, one of my first thoughts when it came to this was, why not just bring back Graham Phillips? Some may have seen his portrayal as Ben as flat, but he was a kid and is a really good actor these days, who has experience with the Ben 10 character. Ryan Kelly even did a good job in Alien Swarm. These people were casted by Cartoon Network, so why not have them make a return? Gary Lowenthal could even take the role. He's done regular acting before and he's voiced the character for years. He'd understand how to make Ben work for a live action setting. In my mind, I don't see Jeremy playing a teenage Ben, more like a fully realized version of the hero, edging towards his Ben 10,000 years. But I have two actual fan casts for Ben. A post-Omniverse mid-20s Ben Tennyson, as well as a teenage version of the character. If we're going much older and he's quite experienced, then I'd have to pick Grant Gustin, or at least a Grant Gustin type of actor. Grant's version of The Flash has every characteristic of Ben in some shape or form. He's smart, sometimes hot-headed, a leader, and can be a quick-witted jokester if he decides to be. As for a more teenage version of Ben, I'd go for Michael Johnston. The first role I ever saw him in was episode 7 of season 4 in Supergirl, titled Rather the Fallen Angel. He's only in one episode, but there's just something about his performance and expression. When I saw him, something told me he'd be a good fit for a live action Ben 10. Or maybe I'm completely wrong, but let me know your opinion in the comments.
Offended you this much, Dr. Kieran?
I don't offend easily. There are no other subjects.
What? I'm the only one?
That's right.
What, was I the only one crazy enough to risk my life for something unknown?
Out of over 100 applicants, all but 12 were acceptably risk tolerant.
Okay, but why did you pick me?
As for Ben 10,000, when I first thought about this, my mind went straight to Robert Downey Jr. just because the Ben 10,000s we've seen all have that certain form of energy about them, and sort of carry themselves with that certain amount of charisma. Although I think him taking on the role of Captain Nemesis would be the right choice for obvious reasons. As for Gwen, I'd say my pick for an adult version, at least, I'd have to go with Karen Gillan. I strongly believe that she'd be a good choice for an adult Gwen, or well, Gwendolyn. And no, it's more than just the red hair. She's in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, so she's familiar with alien environments. She can balance seriousness with comedy, and she's able to perform in a fight scene. Honestly, she's the only person I can think of who can pull off that role. But if we're going for a younger Gwen, I'm hesitant to say Catherine McNamara, but I do think Haley Steinfeld would do justice to a teenage version of the character as well. As for Grandpa Max, I think we can all agree that it's not easy when it comes to casting for him. So I just say get Paul Eaton. I couldn't think of any actor that I know of that could pull off the role of Kevin. My mind just went back to Nathan Keys again. Maybe even with the right direction and skills, you could turn Kevin's angsty edgelordness into something greater. Add an extra layer of his character. It's not easy being Gwen and explore that aspect of the characters' lives really well, showing our heroes act their age for a change, with Gwen having Kevin reflect on his future education. As for casting villains, I think that if we're going all out, then get Steve Bloom and do what Marvel did with James Spader's Ultron or Josh Brolin's Thanos. Put him in some gray pajamas and capture his motions. You could probably even do the same with the actor who's playing Ben. Whenever he's in alien form, put him in a motion capture suit and use that as part of a skeleton for the transformations. I'm not sure how this will work, but you could probably even have both the character of Ben record the lines of the voice actor of the different aliens and sync them together so it still sounds like Ben's humanity is somewhere inside the alien body. I love to see a theatrical release of a Ben 10 film based off of any of the eras, with the soundtrack by Daniel Pemberton or Pinar Toprak. Personally, I'd be a lot more interested about a story where, with each transformation Ben uses, the Omnitrix seems to be slowly breaking his body down, and it's a race against time to find Azimuth, who's gone missing, and Vilgax is chasing after the main heroes. But I guess that's kind of just Secret of the Omnitrix. If it were for some reason up to me, I'd probably do a quadrilogy. The first would be centered around Ben in his early years as a hero, the sequel being in his teen years, with the third being about Ben 10,000, and the fourth having a time travel theme where all three have to come together to stop a bigger threat that has been teased in the background throughout each of their respective films. Kind of like the recent Planet of the Apes trilogy. Not only would we see the lifespan of our character and how he grows, but each movie would set up the next, and we'd see how the previous one affects the next installment. I wouldn't even mind if they did a trilogy, with the first one being when he was 10, the second one being when he was a teenager, and then the third being Ben 10,000, and with that third one, you end it maybe on his death. You see him start off his journey and then end it with him saving the world or the universe and finally becoming the hero of heroes. If they were to bring Ben 10 to the big screen, although it'd be cool to see a continuation of the events after Omniverse, I do think they'd have to and would create another timeline. Yeah, you and I know the character and the universe well, but the general audience doesn't. There'd be some things they'd either have to simplify or take out just so it's easier for everyone to digest. But who do I think would be a good director for a theatrical live-action Ben 10 movie? I'm thinking Taika Waititi for obvious reasons. He's done space-based things before and knows how to keep a certain tone for things as well as direct different sorts of elements. In my opinion, James Gunn, Patty Jenkins, James Wan, or even J.J. Abrams would also be good choices. But that's just my picks for a theatrical live-action Ben 10 movie. if there were ever such a thing. Let me know your casting or director picks and what a good plot for such a movie would be. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you when I see you.